Jazz up your cards by taking your plain buffalo check backgrounds to colorful plaid backgrounds for your cards. Welcome to this episode of Ink It Up with Jessica TV. I'm Jessica Taylor, and in this episode I'm going to show you how easy it is to make plaid backgrounds with just a single buffalo check stamp and some markers. I was inspired to make these cards by my friend Bonnie, who posted a card with this background. She used yellow and green, which I think of as Packer colors, and it just inspired me to try this with a whole bunch of different colors, so be sure to keep watching to see more color combos. First, to make my buffalo check background, I'm using the Stamparatus, and I'm starting with a 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock. Now, I made a little template so that I could make a whole bunch of these plaid backgrounds without having to line everything up. So I just cut this from cardstock so that it forms kind of an L shape that I can put my cardstock right into the corners. And then I had carefully placed that so that my buffalo check stamp would be in the right spot, and now I can just stamp a whole bunch of them at the same time. I found that it's easiest if you take the actual case from the stamp and put it underneath this clear pad right here, and it just kind of holds it in place so it's easier to ink up. I'm going to take Granny Apple Green ink, and I'm just going to put it all over the background stamp. The nice thing about using the Stamparatus is if you don't get a nice image the first time, you can try again. So I'll just fold that over and press on it really nicely, especially around these edges. When we pull it off, you can see it's kind of a little bit sparse over here, so I might line it up again, close this, and really push on this edge. Next, you're just going to grab a ruler and some markers to add the plaid lines. You can use Stampin' Blend markers, which are an alcohol-based marker, or you can use Stampin' Write markers, which are a water-based marker. So really, any markers you have will work. For this card here, I drew lines with Granny Apple Green and Night of Navy markers, and you'll see that I put the lines in between the big buffalo check background plaid. For this card, I did that with Melon Mambo and Granny Apple Green, and then I added the Night of Navy right on the plaid, the buffalo check plaid background. So let me go ahead and show you how to draw your lines. If you're using the Stampin' Blends, I like to use the chisel tip. It's more fine point. But when using the Stampin' Write markers, I like to use the brush tip. It might be because my markers are a little bit older and starting to dry out a bit, and so I get a better line with the brush tip. So I'm just going to line it up a little bit to the right of the buffalo check pattern. Start off the cardstock and just pull my marker all the way across. Then I'll move. Just make sure you pull it all the way off of your cardstock so that the pattern goes all the way. Then I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on this side. Now I do have a piece of grid paper underneath this, just scratch paper to protect my surface. And my friend Bonnie did have a tip. She said she cut her cardstock bigger and then trimmed it down so that if she didn't have some nice edges, she could just trim those off. I like to just cut mine the right size and hope for the best. So that was the Melon Mambo. You want to make sure that you clean off your ruler in between colors. I just take a tissue and wipe it off. And then I'm gonna go just to the left of the buffalo check pattern and draw lines with my Granny Apple Green. Gonna be sure to clean off in between colors. And then I'm gonna show you how I just line up right down the center of that buffalo check. And then I'm going to add the Night of Navy again. There are so many different color combinations that you could do with this. I've tried a bunch and I'm gonna show them to you in just a second. I really want to encourage you to not overthink this. Sometimes my lines are not totally straight. Sometimes the marker bleeds a little bit. Maybe if your ruler has a little spot, it might go funky. Have you ever looked at a plaid shirt? It's not perfect. The plaid is not perfect, and that's kind of how it looks. So I like that look. So there you go. There's one plaid background that I could use on a card. So as a recap, we can take this granny apple green buffalo check background, add some lines to it to make pretty plaids. And then let me show you some other fun color combos I tried. This is Bermuda Bay that I took Bermuda Bay and straight down the center, Coastal Cabana and Melon Mambo markers. I love this, super summery and fun. For Halloween, you can take your basic black and you can add orange lines just down the center. Instead of 2 lines, I just put 1. You could do that and then add black lines down the center of the buffalo check pattern. I think that's my favorite for Halloween. This is a background I tried for Christmas. I started with basic black and then I used cherry cobbler and old olive Stampin' Blends markers. I think that this would look better with Night of Navy, but I do like the black okay. And finally, here is a Christmas card that I made using cherry cobbler for the buffalo check and then cherry cobbler and old olive markers. I hope you can see all the possibilities for pretty plaid backgrounds for your cards using the buffalo check stamp and your markers. Happy stamping!